kinds of death. Some are better than others.
What is up, everybody? Jeremy Eisenfire here, and welcome to the channel. It seems the hype train for 28 years later is continuing to move full steam ahead, as we have recently received an all-new TV spot trailer, and perhaps the most intriguing one up until this point, which showcases the best look at the Alpha thus far, in a scene that potentially depicts Dr. Kelson preparing to square off with the Alpha himself, along with some other brand new scenes from the upcoming film. And in this shot, you really get a sense of just how massive and formidable this Alpha played by Chi Lewis Perry really is, as he reportedly stands at a towering 6 feet 8 inches, but looks closer to 7 feet here in this shot. But first, the trailer starts off with an intriguing shot of the mysterious masked figure on Holy Island, as it flashes back between that and the scarecrows of Holy Island, both of which look eerily the same. Many of us have wondered up until this point what exactly this masked figure is and what it represents, but at this point I'm starting to think that it is simply just a symbol or a mascot of sorts of Holy Island itself. But next we get an all-new shot of what appears to be Spike and Jamie walking across a bridge, which appears to be the same bridge that we see Spike on at night in other trailers, with this shot being from the opposite angle as we don't see the waterfall in the background. And I always was very intrigued by the nighttime shot of Spike on this bridge, as he appears to be getting ready to shoot his bow at something. What exactly is he getting ready to shoot at, and why does he appear to be all by himself with no Dr. Kelson, Jamie, or his mother anywhere in sight? Making me wonder if at some point in the film he becomes separated from all of them, forcing him to survive on his own. But next, we see an all-new interesting shot of what appears to be multiple infected running down that same road we have seen in previous trailers, with them most likely chasing Jamie and Spike, or potentially the NATO soldiers that we've seen in previous trailers, as it flashes back and forth between that and the NATO soldiers fleeing from the infected. We have had some interesting hints up until this point as to what kind of role NATO might be playing in the upcoming film, with them potentially being stranded on the island after shipwrecking, but also them potentially being responsible for maintaining the quarantine around the UK, as the recent rage leaks suggest that NATO might be lying to the rest of the world about there being any survivors inside. So it's going to be interesting to see the full extent of what role NATO is going to be playing in the upcoming film and the overall trilogy. We also get some all-new shots of what appears to be Spike and his mother walking atop the cliff with the vast landscape in the background, which at first I thought was just a continuation of another scene that we've seen in previous trailers of Spike and his mother standing atop a cliff overlooking a landscape. But here it looks like the two backgrounds are vastly different, with one depicting buildings in the background and the other one depicting just land, making these potentially two different scenes. And one thing's for sure, there certainly is no shortage of beautiful landscape shots in this upcoming film, which makes Danny Boyle's choice of shooting in a 2:6:7 format that much more brilliant, as the widescreen format has a much more cinematic feel when showcasing landscape shots like this, and certainly helps to create that sense of isolation that Danny Boyle was looking for. We also get a couple new glimpses of what appears to be the same scene of Jamie and Spike being chased by infected through the woods, followed by the most intriguing shot in the entire trailer, which features a never-before-seen look at the Alpha. The scene starts off with an all-new angle of what appears to be the Alpha charging at Spike and his mother on the train, as we see a new close-up look at his face, most likely right after Spike gets done shooting a few arrows into his chest, likely enraging him that much more. In a recent interview, Danny Boyle discussed a little bit more about the rage virus, and some of the different mutations that have occurred over the last 28 years, and some of the effects that it has on the infected. He described some of the infected as alphas, capable of harnessing almost an endless amount of rage, as the virus itself acts like a sort of steroid of sorts in these particular infected, granting them size and strength far greater than the other infected, with one such case being the Alpha in question, which could potentially explain how he can survive multiple arrow shots to the chest. But next we get the most interesting shot of the entire trailer, of what shows Dr. Kelson and the Alpha standing face to face, which begs the question just what exactly is about to happen in this scene. Are we going to see Dr. Kelson and the Alpha square off one-on-one? Or is something entirely different about to happen here? Could Dr. Kealson potentially show up just in the nick of time to save Spike and his mother and take out the Alpha single-handedly? After all, what we've seen from previous trailers indicates that Dr. Kelson, Spike, and his mother will survive this encounter, which begs the question, could there be a non-violent ending to this scene? When taking a closer look, it almost appears as though the Alpha is studying Dr. Kelson, making me wonder if he has figured out some kind of way of reasoning or even communicating with the infected, or at least with the ones that are more evolved. After all, there is still so much that we don't know about Dr. Kelson's character, and why he has chosen to spend the last 28 years alone in the wilderness building this bone temple of his. Could he potentially be out here studying the rage virus up close and personal and in its natural habitat to learn a little bit more about it? Has he potentially discovered a way to develop some kind of connection with the infected? And if so, just how exactly did he achieve this? And could this potentially be not the first time Dr. Kelson and the Alpha have met face to face? There is also the possibility that we could be looking at the Alpha's final moments in this scene as well. After all, for as big and formidable as the Alpha is, whose name we have recently learned is Samson, he is at the end of the day still a human. And if one of Spike's arrows happened to pierce his heart, we could potentially be looking at his death scene, with him potentially getting ready to collapse not long after this moment. When taking a look at the two arrows that are still lodged within him, one is clearly through his arm, but the other certainly looks like it could potentially be right through his heart, as it does seem to be towards the center of his chest. And one thing we know about the rage virus victims, they are not zombies. You do not have to destroy the brain or take off the head in order to take them out.
It's gotta be the brain. But y'all know nothing?
They are, at the end of the day, still human, and can be dispatched just as easily. But whichever way the scene ends up playing out will be very interesting to see. I, for one, am really hoping that we see the route of a more non-violent ending, where we see Dr. Kelson has learned how to communicate with some of these infected. I get the feeling if any character has learned how to reason with some of the more evolved infected, it would be a character like Dr. Kelson, who has lived the last 28 years among them. And considering his deep fascination for not only death, but life as well, I think it would be that much more fitting. But definitely let me know what you think in the comment section down below. How do you think this scene is going to ultimately play out? Are we going to see a violent clash between Dr. Kelson and the Alpha? Or could we potentially see something a little bit different happen in this scene? Something more unexpected? One thing's for sure, we are getting closer and closer to the release date of 28 years later, and the hype for the film seems to be at an all-time high. And with this being the first film in a potential trilogy, and considering whether or not they get a third film depends entirely on how well this first one does, there certainly seems to be a good amount of pressure on this first film to deliver. And I certainly get the feeling it is going to do exactly that. And based on the amount of pre-sale tickets it has sold, it's certainly on track to do better than any horror film that has come before it this year. And I get the feeling this film is going to have a massive opening weekend. But that is going to do it for our latest breakdown of the newest TV spot trailer. And definitely leave your thoughts and comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like on your way out and consider subscribing to stay up to date on all of our upcoming content. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
Moving up and down again. Jump, jump. Jump, jump. Look at what's in front of you. Keep your eyes up. They will get the top of you. Keep from going down. Moving up and down again. Moving up and down again.
There are many kinds of death. Some are better than others.
There's no discharge in the war.